Cats fans want. Noel hits one high to left field. That's a no-doubter for Noel.
One pitch. High drive to right. Well stocked. That ball is going. That ball is gone. It's a 3-2 ball game. A 2-run home run for George Valera.
The ball gets high. Deep down the left field line. Beltray going back and set the ball is scored. We're tied at 4 in the bottom of the 8th.
In the air to right field. Hit pretty high. Hit pretty deep. That ball is gone! Ryan Lavastida with a walk-off home run!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Future Guardians of the Land podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Sleds. With me this week, I have Cleveland Guardians pitching prospect, Andew Misiaszek. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming on with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So how are things going out in Arizona? How'd the off season go, and how's the training camp going so far?
It was good. After COVID, off season, no season, not being able to get in the gym every day, bounce around, doing makeshift workouts, it was nice to have just a normal, what's supposed to be normal off season, in the same facility every day, getting work in. So just having a normal off season was great. Being out here is awesome too. I live in Massachusetts now, so the off season looks like indoors into a net, bullpens inside. So getting out here, getting to throw on spikes for the first time since last September is always great. But yeah, just loving the weather out here. Can't complain. Arizona in March. So
I bet a little better than Massachusetts in March.
Oh yeah.
So I read a story talking about when you started getting into baseball that you played t-ball at age 5 and actually hated it and said you were never playing again. So kind of tell us that story a little bit.
Yeah. So the story, I'm glad it starts to circulate a little bit. It always comes up. But yeah, so growing up, just mixed in all sports, played like very young, like youth soccer, basketball, tennis, and then t-ball when I was 5, 6. And just for whatever reason, I just despised it. Don't really remember a lot about it. Probably just blocked it out of my memory. But from what my mom told me is I played for like a couple weeks and was like, I don't want any part of this. Just like dreaded going, loved going to all the other sports. So just decided from that point on, like I'm staying away for a little bit for as long as I can. And then played soccer, basketball, tennis, made friends throughout. And then one of my best friends growing up, always over at his house in the yard, like throwing the football around, like throwing tennis ball around, whatever it is. And I want to say I was 8 and I was playing catch in the backyard with my best friend and his dad, just like throwing a tennis ball around. And his dad was like, you have a really good arm. Like, why aren't you playing baseball? I was like, I don't like it. Like, I just don't want to play. And then I remember like the following week went to one of my best friend's games, Little League games. And he was a lefty too. So grabbed one of his gloves and was playing catch with his dad, on the side of the dugout. And like, we were like stretching it out, just like throwing. And I didn't really think anything of it. But he went and told my mom, he's like, we are signing him up for Little League next year, like whether you want to tell him or not. So they went, signed me up, didn't tell me. And then one day get taken to a Little League practice, what I thought was going for one of my other friends, ended up joining in on the practice. No more t-ball, so it was a little more real baseball. I think it was 9. And like from that point on, just started to enjoy it more, like a couple practices in. And then one of my first games, I was pitching, like we kind of rotated everybody around. And I just fell in love with it right then and there. So he always, one of my buddy's dads has always joked. He's like, when you sign your big contract, like, I want 1% of it. So
there you go.
Still joking around with him about that. But yeah, that's kind of main idea of the story. Hated t-ball, wanted nothing to do with baseball, just playing catch in the backyard and on the side of that field, kind of forced it in and fell in love with it. So I'm thankful for that. I mean, I'm glad they took charge and saw a talented arm in me. So
That's cool. I think it's working out pretty well so far for you. So.
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
So you went to Southside High School in Rockville Center, New York. 3 years varsity, you had 14 wins, 180 strikeouts. Pretty good senior year. So you pitched a no-hitter at a 0.67 ERA and All-State Diamond Award winner. What's your best takeaways, best memories from your high school career?
I mean, I didn't really realize this till it came to an end. But just aside from accolades, good games, big strikeout games, just playing with the group of guys that I've played with from, 9, 10, 11, all the way through varsity baseball, trying to compete in the playoffs and going out and trying to win a championship. Didn't really realize it till it was over, but like that was the last time 75% of those guys played baseball ever again. And the last time all of us playing together. So just the memories of that, playing with my best buddies growing up, watching them all get better throughout and seeing myself get better and watching us all grow. And, I think that hands down, I'd take that all day over having an extra, 15 strikeout game or whatever it may be. But yeah, senior year playoff run, even though we didn't end up winning a championship, that was definitely hands down best memories there.
That's definitely memories you keep with you forever.
For sure.
So you ended up at Northeastern University to play college ball. How did you end up there?
So I was a little bit of a late bloomer, like velo wise. Kind of, I guess, everything like physically a little bit. Took a little while to start developing more in the weight room. So early on, like, high 70s to 80 mile an hour guy, freshman, sophomore year of high school. So got attention from local like D2 and D1s around, just like for pitchability. And then my junior year saw like a little bit of a velo uptick, started reaching out to some better schools that I felt like I might have fit in with. And I always had a love for Boston. Growing up, would always go to Red Sox game with my family, have family out in Connecticut, always going into Boston. Just fell in love with that city and found out that Northeastern was in the heart of Boston. So that was one of the schools I reached out to before a couple tournaments. And then kind of picked up from there. And within like 3.5 weeks from that initial email, I was on campus visiting, got a scholarship offer and kind of took it right then and there. So yeah, I mean, it was a simple recruiting process. I went from like what I thought was like maybe walk on D1 to having a little bit of a velo jump to reaching out to some good mid-major schools. And then that kind of just took off from there, took it right there. Ended up garnering interest from some higher conference schools after that, but I was perfectly fine with my decision. Loved it there. Loved going back and visiting and everything. So
very cool. So you had a pretty good career there, 4 years. You had a 3.50 ERA for your career. Again, just like in high school, you finished strong your senior year at a 2.33 ERA and 12 saves. How much did you how do I want to say this? Your development in college? How much did the college experience help you develop as a pitcher to get ready to enter the pro ball?
I think for me, one, being in that college baseball environment, I mean, anyone will tell you like it is all about winning. It's like you develop along the way, but it's like having that sense of all that matters right now is winning one game at a time. And that's what the entire fall and winter prepare you for, on top of course load and everything. So for me, I mean, time management, going into that from a high school schedule to a full college baseball schedule, where winning is everything. At first was a little tough of a transition, but once like you buy into it, I mean, it made all those 6 a.m. workouts worth it. But for me, starting my whole life and then getting to school and then making a transition to a back end reliever, the end of my sophomore year, kind of opened doors for me of that not everything is starting, and that, relievers are valued, where in high school it was starter, go as deep as you can, and then kind of fill in someone if we need to get a couple extra outs at the end. Where now the way baseball has been is, reliever heavy. And I think accepting that role and not saying, oh, I need to start, helped a lot. And being able to pitch in more games, I fell in love with, bouncing back quick, going back to backs 3 days in a row if needed. And that helped develop my mindset too, on the mound, of just always competing, working with whatever I have that day and just grinding through outings if needed. So I'd say that for me, that's definitely the answer.
Okay. So you also had an opportunity in 2018 to play in the Cod League, which I know is a pretty competitive league, but you performed pretty well at 17 games, had a 1.11 ERA. So how was that whole experience for you?
Yeah, that was an unreal experience. Had a opportunity to go there at the end of my sophomore year, and then ended up getting hit. So canceling that Cape contract definitely stung. Thankfully, they brought me back the following summer, my junior summer. But yeah, no, that was amazing. The talent pool in that league, I mean, best of the best. Every top college talent, every top prospect you hear about's there. And just I think everyone says like the purest form of baseball, and I think it's true. Old school fields, some fields are behind elementary school with like houses behind the chain link fence. So you think all this top talent, all these guys that are 95% of the leagues getting drafted that next year, and you're playing on these like middle school-esque fields, I think made it all that much better. And just like the crowd that the games attract was awesome. You have little kids all the way up until old school, older people who have been coming to games, locals for years. But yeah, just an awesome environment there. I mean, obviously the game doesn't change. Fields are all the same. But really, really good group of guys there, all around. And everyone I've talked to on other teams that years go by, I mean, they'll all say the same thing. Not a bad thing to say about that league. So just being able to face all that talent was an unreal experience.
Yeah, I've heard similar things from some of the other guys I've talked to. So
sure.
All right, so all this led up to you being drafted in the 32nd round in 2019 by Cleveland. So how was the whole draft process? Were you doing anything special the day you were drafted?
Yeah, so for me, being a senior was kind of, this is it. I don't have school to go back to, and I don't have leverage for anything. So as team calls, I'm going. And I actually backtrack a little bit, had a really, really good meeting with, at the time, Indians scouts on campus, and like had a couple meetings with other teams, and just like for whatever reason that one stuck with me. Just like the questions that were asked were just different. I was like, I got a really good feeling speaking to those guys. And then that ended up being the team to draft me, which is awesome. But I was just at home, me and my mom, my girlfriend, and a couple really close friends growing up, just hanging out, trying to do whatever we can to pass some time and relax. Obviously 32nd round is quite a bit of time to wait.
Right.
A lot of time to kill. But I remember because when we get to later rounds, like it starts firing off like the draft tracker. And there are times where people's names will pop up and then they'll get the call after. So for me, I remember the draft tracker went down like a couple rounds before, like it was frozen for like a half hour. Oh. And then right after, it just started spitting out names, like quarter of a second every name. And then in all that chaos, finally ended up getting the call. Like, did you see the tracker? I was like, no, it's down. Like, oh, we just picked you in 32nd round. So that was awesome. And then just being around, you know, close friends and family was awesome. It's the way I wanted it. So
Very cool. So did you know much about the team or the city of Cleveland?
Not really. Been to Cleveland now a few times. Haven't gotten to explore fully. So looking forward to doing that in the near future. But yeah, that's a whole section of the country never really ventured out to. Baseball didn't really take me up there. So yeah, all new to me. Excited to, you know, was excited and still excited to be in a new area, not just in the New York, Massachusetts bubble over there. So
Right. Well, if you're a young pitcher, this organization is definitely a good place to be, because they
absolutely,
do a good job of churning out pitchers.
for sure.
So you got drafted in 2019. You didn't appear in any official games. What they have you do once you reported after being drafted?
So in 19, I pitched in rookie ball and then in short season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I do have that on there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. So I had a kind of split time between those two. Being able to get out to Mahoning in short season, which no longer affiliated with us, but I thought that was a great experience the draft year to get some affiliate experience, because out here rookie ball is just different. And, you know, we were at the complex, not like a big fan experience. So, I mean, in college, didn't really get many fans. So getting out to Mahoning, I remember Thursday night, they did like $1 hot dog, $1 beer, $1 tickets, sold out crowd. So that was awesome, getting to pitch in front of a crowd actually rooting for me instead of being on the road in college in those big stadiums, all rooting against me. So, that was a really cool experience.
All right. So you had your first taste of pro ball, and then 2020 comes along and the pandemic shuts everything down. How tough was that on you, and what did you do to kind of stay in shape during that downtime?
Yeah, I mean, that was tough pill to swallow for everybody, especially because we were out here 10 days into spring training when everything happened. But it was just at first dealing with what I had there, which in New York was pretty much nothing. You know, everything was closed for a very long time. Ended up having to order some dumbbells, order some plates back to the house, doing makeshift workouts. Our org did a great job of staying in contact and working with what we had to develop plans for what we needed to get as much work in as we can with those circumstances. It was a lot of throwing with a bucket into a fence by myself. It was a lot of at-home makeshift workouts, going on runs, but it was a grind, but I think it helped me personally and a lot of guys that I've talked to, just being able to be creative when it comes to training. If there is something, you know, if your facility is closed that day or you still need to get some work in. Like I was throwing bullpens at one point. I had set up a trash can at home plate at a middle school field. That was my strike zone, firing the ball off the trash can, bouncing back at me. So, but yeah, no, I think it in the end helped. Obviously, it was miserable not having a season. But kind of after it set in, like knowing there's no season, just kind of working with what we had and being able to develop as much as possible in those circumstances. But yeah, definitely, sure everyone said the same thing. Definitely was brutal like hearing that there's no season, especially after being out here with the offseason before, here for spring training, first real spring training, ready to go. We had games the next day when everything happened. So yeah, that was tough.
I'm sure it was. So then 2021 last season, back in the swing of things. You get a full season in. You were primarily at Lynchburg, but you did pitch 7 games at Lake County High A, and then 1 appearance at Double A Akron. So how was it get back in the swing of things, getting back into game action? How did 2021 go for you overall?
That was great. Again, everyone like had that extra itch to get back out here, missing an entire year. Especially that would have been my first full season. So having my first full year last year, didn't know what to expect in terms of like workload for now a full season. But just my thing was staying healthy, doing whatever I can to stay healthy and be available at all times, get as many opportunities on the mound as I could, and just continue to develop over the season. Ended up having a solid year, and I think go back to that COVID year of being able to adapt is like now that we were in season, I had access to all these resources, all this staff with me now at all instead of on Zoom call all the time, weight room, everything, video, all that stuff. So big jump from that, but all in a positive way of being able to utilize all those resources after a year of, like I said, throwing into fences, lifting weights in the living room, and doing Zoom calls for evaluations and stuff. So, and getting to pitch among different levels was great too. Just being able to go and be called upon on different levels when needed was great too. So yeah.
So as far as pitching roles go, I know you've primarily been a reliever for most of your career. You started a few games throughout your career. Is there any preference? Do you like being in the bullpen or starting something you might like to try sometime?
Yeah, no, I love the bullpen. Like I said, in college, it changed my mindset on it of, I could be in the pen, be a reliable bullpen arm is extremely valued, and being able to stay healthy and be available for as many outings and innings as possible is what I take pride in. My favorite part of it is coming in, guys on base, starter comes out or a guy in front of you comes out with guys on base, come in, shut it down, get a couple punch outs and save their runs from scoring. Because that's what I would want from the next guy behind me. And I think that taking pride in that creates a really good bullpen and team environment, winning culture and everything. So taking pride in all the little bullpen things, and I love it. So yeah, answer that question. Not opposed to starting, obviously, but I've been out of the pen for quite a bit now, and don't want to turn back. So
you mentioned like you like coming in with guys on base. Like is that something you strive off of, those pressure situations?
Yeah, for sure. Coming in with guys on, like I said, that starter just battled for 6+ innings. Now you got guys on second and third, 1 out. Like that's like coming in after getting out of that jam, seeing that starter fired up, team's fired up. Yeah. Just feeding off that energy is the best part.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what are your personal goals for the 2022 season?
For me, so I'm primarily a fastball slider guy. Been in the works developing my changeup more. So that's primary goal is continue to develop that. And then always striving for increasing velocity. I think almost anyone you ask will say that. So another goal, and then just go out, compete every day. Like I said, stay available, stay reliable. And just, yeah, pretty much it.
All sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
All right. So before we wrap it up, we have a segment we like to do here at the end called Getting to Know Your Guardian. It's 10 non-baseball kind of fun questions I'll throw at you whenever you're ready to get started.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So if you had to play another sport professionally besides baseball, what would it be?
I'd say golf. I'm not good, but I think that would be my dream sport other than baseball to be a pro in.
Okay. You
That'd be
play
sweet.
you play regularly, like throughout the off season?
I've gotten into it over the last like year. Still very much a beginner, but I think that would be an uh, unreal sport to be best of the best in. You know, it's only you. Go travel to amazing places, weekends, each weekend.
Right.
Go shoot in the 60s and go to the next one next weekend.
Definitely. So how about if you couldn't play professional sports, what occupation would you desire?
I'd say financial advisor for
Okay.
sure. Yeah. Kind of, yeah, boring one. Don't need to talk about that one.
Right. So how about your favorite game day meal or snack?
I'm a big fruit guy pregame. You know, oranges, bananas, grapes. Try to keep it light, but still, you know, get some good energy from it.
Right.
Don't really have a big meal. I feel like starters probably will answer with they have a big, like a set pregame meal because they have that day every week that they're starting.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know when I'm going to pitch, how often I'm going to pitch. So keep it pretty light, just some fruit.
Okay. How about your favorite takeout?
Well, like fast food or just
Yeah, fast
Yeah.
food or any like restaurant type.
all right. Let's see. Been big on chilies recently. Last
Okay.
few years. Yeah, love me some chilies.
But it's nice to have an East Coast perspective on this because a lot of the guys I've had are West Coast, and I hear In-N-Out Burger
Oh
is
yeah,
one of the big ones.
In-N-Out's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had it a few times now. Really good burgers. Not a fan of their fries at all.
No.
I'm anti In-N-Out fries, so I'll die on that hill right there.
All right. How about your favorite music genre and favorite group or solo artist?
I'll say like hip hop, rap, and I'm a big J. Cole fan.
Okay.
Yeah, J. Cole's my number one for sure.
Favorite movie of all time? That's a tough one, I know.
Yeah, tough one. I got two. I'll go two. I'll go Dark Knight and gotta pick a comedy. I'll go Benchwarmers.
Okay.
Classic right there.
Yeah, that's definitely a classic. How about your favorite pro athlete growing up in any sport? Doesn't have to be baseball.
Tom Brady. Might get hate for that one or support. Pretty polarizing, but Patriots fan. So, I mean, can't really pick anyone else besides Tom there.
I'm surprised he came back.
Yes and no. I'm surprised he retired in the first place.
Right.
I think there was maybe some other reasons behind that. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I'm glad he's back. Love watching that guy play. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he is. Never ages. How about your biggest fear or phobia?
Spiders,
Like,
no doubt. Yeah.
all right, and we'll save the best for last. Your biggest celebrity crush.
Celebrity crush. I actually have a good first celebrity crush. I'll go so mini story, I guess. I was big on those like little mini DVD players.
Mm-hmm.
And I would watch all these movies in my room and I would get hand-me-downs from my grandpa. And I remember Bruce Almighty, I watched it like, I don't even know, as like a 7-year-old. I watched that like once a week, and I'll go Jennifer Aniston. So because of Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, talking about another person who never seems to age. Yeah, she's amazing. All right, so what do you want to tell the fans about what to expect from you in 2022?
Guy of the pen, come in, compete. Guy who takes pride, like I said, in those jam situations. Get some crowds fired up. Get as many punch outs as possible. Yeah, just come in, compete every pitch, every out, and shut the door 8, 9, or come in 4, 5, 6, whatever we need. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you taking out the time to come on with me. I want to wish you good luck this season, and an open invitation. You want to come on again, whether it be mid-season or after the season, you're welcome on anytime.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for having me. This was great.
All right, I appreciate it. Everybody else, make sure you're listening on all your favorite podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google. We're on all of them. Give us those 5-star ratings. Also, check out our YouTube channel at Believe Land Media LLC, and we will talk to you all next week.